is Chair and welcome to day 12 of Jesus and Juice. Now, today we're going to be talking about different causes or different factors that lead people to venture into alcoholism or alcohol addiction. Okay, now I'm a Christian and I do know that the spiritual does play a very huge role in the physical. However, we need to have a good comprehension or understanding of spiritual things. There are two types of people, okay? There are people who will sit down at a table, they will drink alcohol, have a hangover, get drunk, have a hangover, wake up in the morning and be like, I will never ever taste alcohol ever again. What was that? And then there are other people who have what we call addictive personalities. These are people who sit down, drink alcohol for the first time, get hangover, have the effects, and when they wake up, they're like, you guy, I feel so terrible. Like, what is this? But I want to drink again. And it's really these are two different things that two different ends of the spectrum. Okay, now one of the most common factors that actually leads to alcoholism is genetics. Okay, genetics play a very big role. If you happen to have somebody down the line in your family who had or struggled with alcohol, then most likely it is going to manifest somewhere along the line again. It could be through you, it could skip you, it could skip a generation, but eventually it's going to manifest somewhere down the bloodline. Another common factor that actually leads people to alcoholism or alcohol addiction is environmental factors, okay? This is basically your proximity to alcohol. How close are you to alcohol? If you always have alcohol in your face, then you're most likely going to develop a positive outlook towards it, okay? And eventually it'll become something that's normal in your life. You normalize it, and eventually, before you know it, maybe you'll start consuming it, and the more you're around alcohol, the more you consume it, and eventually you find yourself going down the road that will lead to alcohol addiction. So usually try and evaluate how close you are, or how often, frequently you are around alcohol. Another factor that actually leads people to alcoholism or alcohol addiction is social factors. What is defining your social life? This can be broken down into stuff like your culture, your religion, your family background, your work, environment. What does it look like? What shapes it? Studies have actually shown that children who grow up in families where they're exposed to alcohol actually are more likely to develop a drinking pattern. I remember when I was much younger, we used to have a lot of parties at home, okay? My mom used to love throwing parties so much. And I remember when I grew up, like in my teens, about 15, when I started drinking, when I got a taste of it, I was like, oh wow, this is actually okay. But eventually down the road, it wasn't a pretty picture. But because I had the notion that, just because mom used to do it, just because my aunties, my uncles, my sisters used to do it, I thought it was actually okay. But yeah, it's something that I actually do regret. And it's just something that you need to think about. I remember when I used to going to work, I used to actually drink a lot to fit in. My friends would invite me, even though I had to be up early the next day. Friends would invite me to come out and drink, and just because I needed to impress and like to fit in, I would drink heavily all the way until like 5-6 in the morning, and yet I had to be at my desk by about 7:38, and it really did take a toll on my works. I remember when I started drinking when I was 15, okay? I started going to like huge clubs, I'm talking discotheques. And, my first experience with alcohol was like any other, okay? I got drunk, I not really passed out, but I did get drunk, but I did want to feel that feeling of euphoria again and again and again. And I started drinking. At first it was just casual social drinking, but eventually it became something. I needed alcohol to be a part of my day. I needed that feeling to be a part of my day, so I started going out each and every day. When I got to university, I remember my drinking had spiraled. Okay, I was now drinking the little portable alcohol that I would carry in my pockets that was cheap, because I need a constant supply of alcohol or a constant supply of being high. And the people that I was keeping around me were not helping. Okay, basically we were all in the same headspace. We wanted to be high. We were drunkards. Okay, we were alcoholics at that stage. And it's really something when you need to actually evaluate the people that you're keeping around you. Listen, at that time, they're really cool people. Many of them are still my friends. Many of them have actually spiraled into a very deep, dark place. Many have actually ventured into more dangerous drugs. And some have actually reached out to an addiction recovery ministry, because I believe that the same way that I began my walk with Jesus Christ, I know that after 15 years, I know that they're still there, but I know that they can come out of it. If I could come out of it, I know that they can come out of it. And that's actually one of the reasons I actually started Jesus and Juice. The last and one of the most common is psychological factors. This is basically the way that your mind copes with situations. I feel like in our society, we've been told to do a lot of stuff, but not what to do when things don't work out. People are pushed to live a certain life. So when life doesn't turn out the way that they thought it would pan out to be, people turn to different substances, because these are forms of relieving pain that they feel. We have not been taught how to feel. Okay, so we really just look for escapist methods, and alcohol is one of those substances that provides that in great effect. Okay, an example is if somebody is fired from work, if somebody is in a relationship and it doesn't work out, and they've invested so much in it, if somebody loses, gets into a bad business deal and makes such a great loss, usually we don't want to feel the pain that comes with it. And yet this is actually the beginning of any healing process. Acknowledgement. You need to acknowledge the hurt. Okay, and when we actually resort to escapism through alcoholism, it really doesn't help. Okay, if anything, it actually pushes the issue much further. And by the time we get to that point where we need to confront it, a lot of damage has been done, physically, emotionally, financially. And yeah, it's really something that you need to consider. What do you do when you're hurting? What do you do when things aren't going your way? Okay, what are your coping methods? Are they healthy? Are they unhealthy? Something to think about.